FromSoft is not considering Elden Ring 2, but it's not the end of the brand. What does that mean? Grant Tillerhill over Insider Gaming, in a recent interview, FromSoftware Hidetaka Miyazaki confirmed that the team is not considering making Elden Ring 2, but there are plans in the pipeline to further expand the brand. He revealed that the team is working on several projects, but Elden Ring 2 isn't one of them. However, he promised, quote, "This does not mean that we are denying the development of the IP Elden Ring," end quote. Earlier this year, FromSoft released Shadow of the Erdtree, the first major expansion for Elden Ring, and it was so good that it's up for Game of the Year. We have a bone of contention with that, Michael, but either way. In an interview with Game Watch found by Eurogamer, Miyazaki answers a question about Elden Ring being made into a full-fledged series. At this point, we are not considering developments such as Elden Ring 2. However, this does not mean that we are denying the development of the IP Elden Ring. As for what will we do then, FromSoftware is running multiple projects as usual. Among them, there are various variations of projects. So I hope you will look forward to them. That's such a PR statement, man. He declined to answer what the cards are for FromSoft, where these future projects are concerned, speaking cryptically and saying, "I think we'll be able to show you a new FromSoftware in a variety of ways." What does that mean? Miyazaki did take the opportunity to stress that he doesn't see Shadow of the Erdtree as a full game like some do. But yeah, it's up for Game of the Year, Michael. Yeah. In other words, it was originally developed as DLC. How about DLC of the Year? I think that one would probably take it. And the scope and size of the expansions were simply created to give sense of adventure. That is a characteristic of Elden Ring. In one line, Miyazaki seemed to reverse from his earlier promise of there not being an Elden Ring 2. There are many things we need to reflect on in the DLC, so we will accept them honestly and sincerely and make use of them for the next game. But perhaps it's a line lost in translation, and we're referring to whatever the next game is from FromSoftware. Michael, where are you at with this? Will we ever see Elden Ring 2? No! Shadow of the Erdtree should not be there for Game of the Year.
No, I don't think we'll see an Elden Ring 2 because they've established at the Game Awards they don't need to make an Elden Ring 2, right? Make another expansion. If it's as good as Shadow of the Erdtree, which so far FromSoft really hasn't had a failure, it could be up for Game of the Year in 2026, 2027, whenever it comes out, right? Obviously, next year we kind of already know what the Game of the Year is probably going to be. So that is the one where I think they basically kind of learned, like, we don't need to make a full game, right? We make good enough DLC that people basically accept that our DLC is a full game. And I think they're kind of just banking on it, all right? If you don't have to go into that full development. Nice for the fans, though, right? We can save a little bit of money on that expansion. Still be able to get what people consider a full game. So, yeah, I think they're basically saying, look, you guys have said our DLC is better than at least everything but 5 other games as of right now. And we'll find out next week if it's better than anything that was released this year. And I think it has a really good shot of being Game of the Year. So why would they need to make an Elden Ring 2? I'm curious what FromSoft is going from. It kind of seemed like he hinted at they're going away from Souls-likes, where he said that they want to show new FromSoftware. So curious to see how that goes. You know, that is the genre they have dominated, so go away from it. Curious to see. But yeah, I bet you we get one more DLC, Drew. That's my prediction. 2026, I think we get an Elden Ring DLC, but I don't think we're ever getting Elden Ring 2.
Yeah, they're not really one to kind of carry on with sequels, right? There was Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and yeah, we can follow that along, right? But then you get into Bloodborne, never saw a sequel whatsoever. Then we get into Elden Ring, that's it. There is no 2. Instead, we got the DLC. Interesting to see that there, because it is so big and so well crafted that, yeah, it is in that Game of the Year discussion. Do they need to make another Elden Ring 2, or do they just carry on the lineage and let you carry on your progress and get into another piece of DLC and then just get nominated next year for Game of the Year up against, I think, some pretty big heavy hitters coming in next year. Very curious to see how all that kind of comes together and plays out. But it's very interesting to see that you have the opportunity. Fans want you to make a sequel, but yet they're not being forced into it. A lot of studios in previous years would be, hey, this made so much money, you now have to make a sequel. We're going to push you, force you to do so. If you don't have something to say, then why would you do that? Right? So Miyazaki, I think, has the power and the ability over there from FromSoft. Obviously, he's the big guy there. He can say, hey, we're just going to go over here and make this, and then we're going to go over here and make an Animal Crossing. Wouldn't that be funny? And then we're going to go do this. So we'll see what happens when it comes to FromSoft. But dude, they have no intention right now of making Elden Ring 2, and they don't need to.